Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is GGF bringing you episode 5 of Let's Try Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Hope you guys are well. I'm enjoying some really early morning here. Sun just sneaking up above a little bit here. But yeah, we're going to get back into this. We're going to choose our core that we're playing on. Choose a custom character, pick a random portrait for now. We'll change that later. And I think, guys, we're going to move forward in our stuff here and become an arcane writer. The only thing I thought at the end, like after deciding on this, was that we get an arcane mount, but how often are we going to be outside, I wonder, for that arcane mount? I could always pick Armored Battle Mage. But I think we're going to be an Arcane Rider. Let's go ahead. Spell combat's interesting. Spell strike. Charge a weapon with a spell that requires a touch attack. Deliver it by attacking the enemy with that weapon. Yeah, I think we can be a Magus. I think I can handle playing that. It is 5-star difficulty, but... Alright, let's take a closer look at what we're going to be dealing with here. Our class skills are Knowledge Arcana, Knowledge World, Use Magic Device, Athletics, and Persuasion. We get Spell Combat, learns to cast spells and wield weapons at the same time. We'll get into all of this actually when we actually start the game. We'll probably go over this a little bit and read all about it. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be an arcane writer. I think that sounds pretty cool. We get like an arcane, like a mount. Plus we can still, handle melee. So let's go ahead and pick an arcane rider. I guess let's go over what we're going to get at level 1 just because it's going to start the game with this stuff. We get an animal companion. Unlike normal animals of its kind, an animal companion's hit dice, abilities, skills, and feats advance as the Magus advances in level. If a character receives an animal companion from more than one source, her effective Magus levels stack for the purposes of determining the stats and abilities of the companion. Most animal companions increase in size when their Magus reaches 4th or 7th level, depending on the companion. And the companion, I guess, is an arcane mount. An arcane rider's abilities that spend arcane pool also apply to his mount companion. We get bonus feats. An arcane rider may select mounted combat feats as bonus feats. We get an arcane pool. At first level, the Magus gains a reservoir of mystical arcane energy that he can draw upon to fuel his powers and enhance his weapon. This arcane pool has a number of points equal to half his Magus level, minimum 1, plus his intelligence modifier. The pool refreshes once per day when the Magus prepares his spells. At first level, a Magus can expend 1 point from his arcane pool as a swift action to grant any weapon he's holding a +1 enhancement bonus for 1 minute. For every 4 levels beyond first, the weapon gains another +1 to a max of +5 at 17th level. These bonuses can be added to the weapon, stacking with existing weapon enhancement to a max of +5, but multiple uses of this ability do not stack with themselves. At 5th level, these bonuses can be used to add any of the following weapon properties: Flaming, Flaming Burst, Frost, Icy Burst, Keen, Shock, Shocking Burst, or Speed. Adding these properties consumes an amount of bonus equal to the property's base price modifier. These properties are added to any the weapon already has, but duplicates do not stack. If the weapon is not magical, at least a +1 enhancement bonus must be added before any other properties can be added. Oh, there's more. These bonuses do not function if the weapon is wielded by anyone other than the Magus. A Magus can only enhance one weapon in this way at one time. If he uses this ability again, the first one immediately ends. Arcane Weapon Enhancement. The swift action, it lasts for a minute. Okay. Then we get Spell Combat. At first level, a Magus learns to cast spells and wield his weapons at the same time. This functions much like two-weapon fighting, but the offhand weapon is a spell that is being cast. To use this ability, the Magus must have one hand free while wielding a light or one-handed melee weapon in the other hand. As a full round action, he can make all of his attacks with his melee weapon at a -2 penalty, and can also cast any spell from the Magus spell list with a casting time of 1 standard action. Any attack roll made as part of this spell also takes this penalty. So -2 penalty. Magus proficiencies. A Magus is proficient with all simple and martial weapons. A Magus is also proficient with light armor. He can cast Magus spells while wearing light armor without incurring the normal arcane spell failure. Chance. Like any other arcane spellcaster, a Magus wearing medium armor, heavy armor, or a shield incurs a chance of arcane spell failure. A multi-class Magus still incurs the normal arcane spell failure chance for arcane spells received from other classes. Makes sense. So light armor, simple and martial, and then cantrips. Magi can cast a number of cantrips or 0-level spells. These spells are cast like any other spell, but they are not expended when cast, and may be used again. So I'm not sure, do we get all of these? Or do we pick from them? I guess we get all of them. We get Acid Splash, one enemy in close range, standard action, not affected by target spell resist, and it's acid. You fire a small orb of acid at the target. You must succeed on a ranged touch attack to hit your target. The orb deals 1d3 points of acid damage. We get Daze, one enemy within close range. For 1 round it lasts. A will saving throw negates. This spell clouds the mind of a humanoid creature with 4 or fewer hit dice so that it takes no actions. Humanoids of 5 or more hit dice are not affected. A dazed subject is not stunned, so attackers get no special advantage against it. After a creature has been dazed by this spell, it is immune to the effects of the spell for 1 minute. We get Disrupt Undead. That's pretty cool. You direct a ray of positive energy. You must make a ranged touch attack to hit. If the ray hits an undead creature, it deals 1d6 points of damage to it. We get Flare. This cantrip creates a burst of light. If you cause the light to burst in front of a single creature, that creature is dazzled for 1 minute unless it makes a successful Fortitude save. Sightless creatures, as well as creatures already dazzled, are not affected by Flare. And Dazzled, the creature is unable to see well because of overstimulation of the eyes. A dazzled creature takes a -1 penalty on attack rolls and sight-based perception checks. Oh wait, then we get Light. 10 minutes per level on a friendly creature within touch range. This spell causes a touched party member to glow like a torch, shedding normal light in a 20-foot radius from the point touched. You can only have 1 light spell active at any one time. If you cast a spell while another casting is still in effect, the previous is dispelled. Ray of Frost. A ray of freezing air and ice projects from your pointing finger. You must succeed on a ranged touch attack with the ray. To deal damage to a target, the ray deals 1d3 points of cold damage. Touch of Fatigue. You channel negative energy through your touch, fatiguing the target. You must succeed on a touch attack to strike. The subject is immediately fatigued for the spell's duration. Spell has no effect on a creature that is already fatigued. Unlike with normal fatigue, the effect ends as soon as the spell duration expires, which is 1 round per level. And Fatigue. A fatigued character cannot charge and takes a -2 penalty to strength and dexterity. Doing anything that would normally cause fatigue causes the fatigued character to become exhausted. After a complete rest, fatigued characters are no longer fatigued, and if you become exhausted, then you move at half speed, cannot charge, take a -6 penalty to strength and dex, and you need a full rest. And then the last cantrip is Dismiss Spell. After the battle, you can dismiss area spell effect at will. Oh, nice. You must be out of combat and within a 100-foot range of the spell's effect. Dismissing a spell is a standard action that does not spend spell slots and does not provoke attacks of opportunity. So if there's like a web that you're waiting to dispel, you can just dismiss it quickly and move your party on with their lives. So I think we're going to be an arcane rider. We can look at the details. Fortitude is high. What does that mean? Your fortitude reflects your ability to stand up to physical punishment or attacks against your vitality and health. Generally, when you're subject to an unusual or magical attack, you get a saving throw to avoid or reduce the effect. Like an attack roll, a saving throw is a d20 roll plus a bonus based on your class and level, and an associated ability. Your constitution modifier is added to your fortitude saving throw. So our fortitude is high. Our willpower is high. Your will reflects your resistance to mental influence as well as many magical effects. Generally, when you're subject to an unusual or magical attack, you get a saving throw to... So your wisdom modifier is added to your will saving throw, and then our reflex is low, which is our ability to dodge area attacks in unexpected situations. Looks like the same, but dexterity is added to the reflex saving throw. Our base attack bonus is only average. BAB is each creature has a base attack bonus and it represents its combat power. As a creature gains level or hit dice, their base attack bonus improves. When a creature's base attack bonus reaches +6, +11, or +16, it receives an additional attack in combat when making a full attack. Base attack bonuses increase at different rates for different character classes. Each consecutive attack gained from base attack bonus has a cumulative -5 penalty. For example, if your BAB is +12, the first attack has a +12 bonus, the second attack has +7, and the third has +2. Our HP is 5 per level. This is how many HP we get with each level. It depends on the selected class, and we start with 8 hit points. Obviously, hit points measure how hard you are to kill. The most common way that your character gets hurt is losing hit points by taking damage. Some abilities and spells grant temporary hit points that disappear after a duration. When creatures take damage, they lose temporary hit points first. When a creature's hit points drop to 0 or lower, it becomes unconscious. When a creature's hit points reach a negative total equal to its constitution score, it dies. We can reach up to the 6th level of spells. Our caster ability is intelligence. And our caster type is memorizing spells. There's those who are memorized and those who cast spontaneously. So we have to memorize, fill them out early. Or in advance, I should say. But what I'm curious about, something with the arcane rider also had to do with charisma, didn't it? Okay, the intelligence modifier is there, but where did I see the charisma? Or something. Was it charisma? And guys, if you know me by now, you know that I'm not really going to build the best character. Like, I'm just going to build one that I personally like. We're not going to min-max or anything like that. But okay, I think we're good to go now. Our class skills are, well, let's read this and then we'll finish this here. Our class skills are Knowledge Arcana. This skill depends on intelligence. The skill cannot be used if your character is not trained in it. Knowledge Arcana represents characters' knowledge about spells, magic items, and numerous bits of magical lore. Here are examples where you will apply your character's Knowledge Arcana skill. Arcane spell scroll scribing during camping. Identification of found magical items. Learn spells from spellbooks and scrolls. Knowledge World also depends on intelligence. It represents characters' knowledge about people, systems that make civilization run, historical events that made societies what they are today. Examples: brew potions during camping, decipher writing in foreign languages, recall knowledge about geography, history, locales, or nobility. Use magic device, that depends on charisma, okay. And it represents a character's talent at activating magic items, even if you're not otherwise trained in their use. An example would be activate a wand and scroll that you would normally be unable to use. Athletics depends on strength. Armor penalties apply to these skill checks. Athletics represent the character's talent at deeds of physical prowess, such as leaping or scaling walls, or moving a heavy object, climbing an obstacle, or jumping. And persuasion depends on charisma. That's your character's talent to manipulate other people through negotiation, deceit, or intimidation, like to change others' attitudes or opinions. So let's hit next. We don't have to get into all this here, all these bonus feats and stuff. We'll just learn that as we go. And for the first time, we're going to take a look at the races. So we've made it to the races. There's quite a few of them, so many options. It's really fantastic stuff. Let's jump right in. Human. They get a +2 to 1 ability score at creation. The character gets a +2 bonus to any of these 6 ability scores. And just so we see here, strength measures muscle and physical power. Examples: melee attack rolls, damage rolls when using a melee or thrown weapon, athletic skill checks. Most builds of fighters, barbarians, and cavaliers require high strength. Strength also sets the maximum amount of weight your character can carry. Constitution bonus increases a character's hit points, so the ability is important for all classes. Fortitude saving throws for resisting death effects, poison, disease, and similar threats. And hit points your character gets when they gain a level. If a character's constitution score changes enough to alter their con modifier, the character's hit points also increase or decrease accordingly. Wisdom describes a character's willpower, common sense, awareness, and intuition. If you want your character to have acute senses, put a high score in wisdom. Like will saving throws for negating the effects of charm person and other spells. Perception, lore nature, lore religion skill. Clerics, druids, inquisitors, war priests, hunters, shamans, and rangers get bonus spells based on their wisdom. The minimum wisdom score needed to cast those spells is 10 plus the spell's level. Dexterity measures agility, reflexes, and balance, like ranged attack rolls, including those for attacks made with bows, crossbows, throwing axes, and many ranged spell attacks like Scorching Ray. So this will be important for us too. Armor class, provided that current bonus is not limited by the armor's maximum dex bonus. Reflex saving throws for avoiding fireballs and other attacks that you can escape by moving quickly. Trickery, mobility, and stealth skill checks. It's vital for characters seeking to excel with ranged weapons such as the bow. Most builds of rogues, slayers, hunters, monks, and rangers require high dex. And this is our bread and butter right here, intelligence. Determines how well your character learns and reasons. Animal companions require intelligence score 3 to gain access to many new feats. The number of skill points gained each level is modified by intelligence, though your character always gets at least 1 skill point per level. And knowledge, skills of the world, and arcana skill checks. Alchemists, arcanists, witches, magi, and wizards gain bonus spells based on their intelligence score. The minimum intelligence score is 10 plus the spell's level. And charisma will also be important. Power of personality, personal magnetism, ability to lead and appearance, persuasion and use magic device skill checks, channel energy DCs for clerics and paladins attempting to harm undead foes. Bards, paladins, blood ragers, oracles, scalds, and sorcerers gain a number of bonus spells based on their charisma. And to cast those spells, it's 10 plus the spell's level. So let's take a look at humans. Here's what they look like. They get a feat, which is an ability a character has mastered. Feats often allow characters to circumvent rules or restrictions. Characters gain 1 feat at first level and every 2 levels thereafter. Humans receive a bonus feat at first level. And they're skilled, so humans gain an additional skill rank at first level and 1 additional rank whenever they gain a level. Humans possess exceptional drive and a great capacity to endure and expand, and as such are currently the dominant race in the world. Their empires and nations are vast, sprawling things, and the citizens of these societies carve names for themselves with the strength of their sword arms and the power of their spells. Humanity is best characterized by its tumultuousness and diversity, and human cultures run the gamut from savage but honorable tribes to decadent, devil-worshipping noble families in the most cosmopolitan cities. Human curiosity and ambition often triumph over their predilection for a sedentary lifestyle, and many leave their homes to explore the innumerable forgotten corners of the world or lead mighty armies to conquer their neighbors simply because they can. The physical characteristics of humans are as varied as the world's climes, from the dark-skinned tribesmen of the southern continents to the pale and barbaric raiders of the northern lands. Humans possess a wide variety of skin colors, body types, and facial features. Generally speaking, human skin color assumes a darker hue the closer to the equator they live. So that's option number 1. Let's go to the elves. So the elves get -2 constitution, but +2 intelligence, +2 dexterity. Could be a very good option for us. They also get a lot of other stuff, like keen senses. Dwarves, elves, gnomes, half-elves, half-orcs, halflings, kitsune, and oreads receive a +2 racial bonus on perception checks. Elves receive a +2 racial bonus on caster level checks made to overcome spell resistance. This is Elven magic. In addition, elves receive a +2 racial bonus on knowledge arcana skill checks made to identify the properties of magic items. They get elven immunities. They're immune to magic sleep effects and gain a +2 racial bonus to saving throws against enchantment spells and effects. Elven weapon familiarity. Elves are proficient with longbows, including composite longbows, long swords, rapiers, and short bows, including composite short bows, and treat any weapon with the word elven in its name as a martial weapon. Wow, that is really cool. You can get an elven mace maybe, or an elven bastard sword. And racial heritage. Various places and living conditions create subraces differing from their peers. They gain unique racial traits in exchange for losing some of the usual ones. So I guess we get to pick a racial heritage if we were to pick an elf too. That is pretty wild as it changes up, up here. The long-lived elves are children of the natural world, similar in many superficial ways to fey creatures, yet different as well. Elves value their privacy and traditions, and while they're often slow to make friends at both the personal and national levels, once an outsider is accepted as a comrade, such alliances can last for generations. Elves have a curious attachment to their surroundings, perhaps as a result of their incredibly long lifespans, or some deeper, more mystical reason. Elves who dwell in a region for long find themselves physically adapting to match their surroundings, most noticeably taking on coloration, reflecting the local environment. Those elves that spend their lives among the short-lived races, on the other hand, often develop a skewed perception of mortality and become morose, the result of watching wave after wave of companions age and die before their eyes. Although generally taller than humans, elves possess a graceful, fragile physique that is accentuated by their long pointed ears. Their eyes are wide and almond-shaped and filled with large, vibrantly colored pupils. While elven clothing often plays off the beauty of the natural world, those elves that live in cities tend to bedeck themselves in the latest fashion. And you can see the elven ears. And we'll adjust the look of everybody as well before we go, or not everybody, but of our character. Then we have the dwarves. They get -2 charisma, but +2 wisdom, +2 constitution, and a whole host of stuff. They're slow and steady, so they have a base speed of 20 feet, but their speed is never modified by armor or encumbrance. And I think the base speed of most races is 30 feet, but I'm not sure on that. But they never have modifiers based on armor or encumbrance, so they can be even over-encumbered and still move 20 feet. Stability. Dwarves gain a +4 racial bonus to their combat maneuver defense when resisting a bull rush or trip attempt when standing on the ground. They're hardy, +2 racial bonus on saving throws against poison, spells, and spell-like abilities. So they get rid of the poisons and just regular spells. Defensive training. Giants, dwarves, and gnomes gain a +4 dodge bonus to AC against monsters of the giant subtype. They have a hatred of orcs and goblinoids. They gain a +1 racial bonus on attack rolls against humanoid creatures of the orc and goblinoid subtypes because of their special training against these hated foes. They have keen senses, +2 racial bonus on perception checks. Dwarven weapon familiarity. They treat any weapon with the word dwarven as a martial weapon, and they're proficient with battle axes, heavy picks, and warhammers. And they get a racial heritage, a subrace. So dwarves are a stoic but stern race, ensconced in cities carved from the hearts of mountains and fiercely determined to repel the depredations of savage races like orcs and goblins. More than any other race, the dwarves have acquired a reputation as dour and humorless craftsmen of the earth. It could be said that dwarven history shapes the dark disposition of many dwarves, for they reside in high mountains and dangerous realms below the earth, constantly at war with giants, goblins, and other such horrors. Dwarves are a short and stocky race and stand about a foot shorter than most humans, with wide, compact bodies that account for their burly appearance. Male and female dwarves pride themselves on the length of their hair, and men often decorate their beards with a variety of clasps and intricate braids. A clean-shaven male dwarf is a sure sign of madness or worse. No one familiar with their race trusts a beardless dwarf. Then we have a gnome. They get -2 strength, but +2 con, +2 charisma. See the little guys here? They have keen senses, so +2 perception. They have a hatred of reptilian humanoids, so they get a +1 bonus on attack rolls against reptilian and goblinoid subtypes. Defensive training giants, so they get the +4 dodge bonus to AC when fighting giants. Illusion resistance. They gain a +2 racial bonus to saving throws against illusion spells and effects. Gnome magics. They add a +1 to the DC of any saving throws against illusion spells that they cast. They're obsessive. They receive a +2 racial bonus on knowledge world checks. Slow movement. They have a base speed of 20 feet and they get a racial heritage. Gnomes trace their lineage back to the mysterious realm of the Fae, a place where colors are brighter, the wildlands wilder, and emotions more primal. Unknown forces drove the ancient gnomes from that realm long ago, forcing them to seek refuge in this world. Despite this, the gnomes have never completely abandoned their Fae roots or adapted to mortal culture. As a result, gnomes are widely regarded by the other races as alien and strange. Gnomes are one of the smallest of the common races, generally standing over 3 feet in height, just over 3 feet in height. Their hair tends toward vibrant colors such as the fiery orange of autumn leaves, the verdant green of forests at springtime, or the deep reds and purples of wildflowers in bloom. Similarly, their flesh tones range from earthy browns to floral pinks, frequently with little regard for heredity. Gnomes possess highly mutable facial characteristics, and many have overly large mouths and eyes, an effect which can be both disturbing and stunning depending on the individual. Halflings, -2 strength, +2 dex and charisma. Interesting choice. They're fearless. +2 racial bonus on all saving throws against fear, and it stacks with the bonus granted by halfling luck. They have slow movement, base speed of 20 feet. They're sure-footed, +2 racial bonus on athletics and mobility checks. Keen senses. Halfling luck, they receive a +1 racial bonus on all saving throws and a racial heritage. Optimistic and cheerful by nature, blessed with uncanny luck and driven by a powerful wanderlust, halflings make up for their short stature with an abundance of bravado and curiosity. At once excitable and easygoing, halflings like to keep an even temper and a steady eye on opportunity, and are not as prone as some of the more volatile races to violent or emotional outbursts. Even in the jaws of catastrophe, a halfling almost never loses his sense of humor. Halflings are inveterate opportunists. Unable to physically defend themselves from the rigors of the world, they know when to bend with the wind and when to hide away. Yet a halfling's curiosity often overwhelms his good sense, leading to poor decisions and narrow escapes. Though their curiosity drives them to travel and seek new places and experiences, halflings possess a strong sense of house and home, often spending above their means to enhance the comforts of home life. Halflings rise to a humble height of 3 feet. They prefer to walk barefoot, leading to the bottoms of their feet being roughly calloused. Tufts of thick, curly hair warm the tops of their broad, tan feet. Their skin tends towards a rich almond color and their hair toward light shades of brown. A halfling's ears are pointed, but proportionately not much larger than those of a human. Did humans have a racial? No, humans don't have a racial heritage. Then we have half-elves. They get +2 to 1 ability score at creation, and they have no modifiers, so they just get a +2. Keen senses, they get elven immunities as well, which was a +2 racial bonus to saving throws against enchantment spells and effects, and a half-elf racial heritage. Elves have long drawn the covetous gazes of other races. Their generous lifespans, magical affinity, and inherent grace each contribute to the admiration of bitter envy of their neighbors. Of all their traits, however, none so entrance their human associates as their beauty. Since the two races first came into contact with each other, the humans have held up elves as models of physical perfection, seeing in the fair folk idealized versions of themselves. For their part, many elves find humans attractive despite their comparatively barbaric ways, drawn to the passion and impetuosity with which members of the younger race play out their brief lives. Sometimes this mutual infatuation leads to romantic relationships, though usually short-lived even by human standards. These trysts commonly lead to the birth of half-elves, a race descended of two cultures, yet inheritor of neither. Half-elves can breed with one another, but even these pure-blood half-elves tend to be viewed as outsiders by humans and elves alike. Half-elves stand taller than humans, but shorter than elves. They inherit the lean build and comely features of their elven lineage, but their skin color is dictated by their human side. While half-elves retain the pointed ears of elves, theirs are more rounded and less pronounced. A half-elf's human-like eyes tend to range a spectrum of exotic colors running from amber or violet to emerald green and deep blue. As you can see, very good-looking fellow there, which we will again alter when the time comes. Half-orcs, they get no modifiers, but they get a +2 bonus as well. Wow, they're huge. They're intimidating. They receive a +2 racial bonus on persuasion checks when used to intimidate due to their fearsome nature. Orc weapon familiarity. They're proficient with great axes and falchions, and treat any weapon with the word orc as martial. Orc ferocity. When a half-orc is brought below 0 hit points but not killed, he can fight on for one more round as if disabled. At the end of his next turn, unless brought to above 0 hit points, he immediately falls unconscious. Keen senses and racial heritage. Half-orcs get the worst of both worlds. Still, while not exactly accepted, half-orcs in civilized societies tend to be valued for their martial prowess. They are usually forced to grow apart and fast, constantly fighting for protection or to make names for themselves. Feared, distrusted, and spat upon, half-orcs still consistently manage to surprise their detractors with great deeds and unexpected wisdom, though sometimes it's easier just to crack a few skulls. Both genders of half-orcs stand between 6 and 7 feet tall with powerful builds and greenish or grayish skin. Their canines often grow long enough to protrude from their mouths, and these tusks, combined with heavy brows and slightly pointed ears, give them notoriously bestial appearance. While half-orcs may be impressive, few ever describe them as beautiful. Aw, he's beautiful. Then we have the Aasimar. They get no modifiers at all, but they get a heritage. Most Aasimars do not know exactly where their celestial powers came from, and the similar qualities of many such celestially touched beings hint at a relatively indistinct or all-encompassing heavenly force in their lineage. Some, however, possess more unique traits and abilities inherited from their supernal forebears, attributes that hint at the precise type of celestial being that affected their ancestors. They get a light halo. Aasimars possess the ability to manifest halos. I remember that from Kingmaker. They can create a light centered on their head at will. While using a halo, they gain a +2 circumstance bonus on saving throws against becoming blinded or dazed. 1 second, guys, I'm going to hit my water bottle. Ah, delicious. Aasimars have acid resistance 5, cold and electricity resistance 5 as well. Aasimars are humans with a significant amount of celestial or other good outsider blood in their ancestry. While not always benevolent, Aasimars are more inclined toward acts of kindness rather than evil. Aasimar heritage can lie dormant for generations, only to appear suddenly in the child of two apparently human parents. Most societies interpret Aasimar births as good omens, though it must be acknowledged that some Aasimars take advantage of the reputation of their kind, brutally subverting the expectations of others with acts of terrifying cruelty or abject venality. And they look pretty cool, with many different looks actually. This is just one version, of course. Aasimars look mostly human except for some minor physical traits that reveal their unusual heritage. Typical Aasimar features are hair that shines like metal, unusual eye or skin color, or other unearthly marks of beauty. Ooh, then we have a tiefling. They get fiendish resistance. They have cold, electric, and fire resist 5, and a tiefling heritage. Although many tieflings follow the general model of the tiefling, many more do not. Those of different lineages may evince dramatically different manifestations of their heritage, both in appearance and in ability. Others have particularly potent heritages tied to specific fiendish races. So that's a whole other can of goodies to open. Simultaneously more and less than mortal, tieflings are the offspring of humans and fiends, with otherworldly blood and traits to match. Tieflings are often shunned and despised out of reactionary fear. Most tieflings never know their fiendish sire, as the coupling that produced their curse occurred generations earlier. The taint is long-lasting and persistent, often manifesting at birth or sometimes later in life, as a powerful though often unwanted boon. Despite their fiendish appearance and netherworld origins, tieflings have a human's capacity of choosing their fate, and while many embrace their dark heritage and side with fiendish powers, others reject their darker predilections. Though the power of their blood calls nearly every tiefling to fury, destruction, and wrath, even the spawn of a succubus can become a saint, and the grandchild of a pit fiend, an unsuspecting hero. Wow. They look pretty cool with the horns and stuff, and the tail. Then we've got these, which seem to be new, Oreads. They're slow movement, they're dwarf-blooded, they have a base speed of 20, and their speed is never modified by armor or encumbrance. Keen senses, energy resistance, so acid resists 5. Acid affinity, whenever an Oread casts a spell with an acid descriptor, the saving throw DC against it is increased by 1. Nice. And they get an Oread heritage. Geniekin trace their lineage to beings from the various elemental planes. Though their progenitors are typically genies, this ancestor can derive from any number of elemental creatures. Furthermore, even geniekin whose ancestry includes only genies can manifest their elemental heritage in uncommon ways. Oreads are humans whose ancestry includes the touch of an elemental being of Earth somewhere along the line, often that of a shaitan genie. Stoic and contemplative, Oreads are a race not easily moved, yet almost unstoppable when spurred to action. They remain a mystery to most of the world thanks to their reclusive nature, but those who seek them out in their secluded mountain hideaways find Oreads to be quiet, dependable, and protective of their friends. Very cool. And a Dhampir. They get a Dhampir heritage. Presented here are alternative Dhampirs descended from specific breeds of vampires. A player may choose one of the following heritages for her Dhampir in place of the traditional Dhampir racial features, which are assumed to be born from less pure or mixed heritages. They get negative energy affinity. Though a living creature, a Dhampir reacts to positive and negative energy as if they were undead. Positive energy harms them, while negative energy heals them. A Dhampir is immune to energy drain effects. That's very cool. No level drain. And they get undead resistance, a +2 racial bonus on saving throws against disease and mind-affecting effects. The half-living children of vampires birthed by human females, Dhampirs are progenies of both horror and tragedy. The circumstances of a Dhampir's conception are often called into question but scarcely understood, as few mortal mothers survive the childbirth. Those who do often abandon their monstrous children and refuse to speak of the matter. While some speculate that dampiers result when mortal women couple with vampires, others claim that they form when a pregnant woman suffers a vampire bite. Some particularly zealous scholars even contest vampire status as a unique race, instead viewing them as humans suffering from an unholy affliction. Indeed, this hypothesis is strengthened by dampiers' seeming inability to reproduce, their offspring inevitably humans, usually sorcerers with the undead bloodline. And then finally, guys, we have Kitsune. They get a heritage, Kitsune magic. They add +1 to the DC of any saving throws against enchantment spells that they cast. Kitsune with a charisma score of 11 or higher. For Keen Kitsune is an intelligence instead of charisma. Gain the light spell, the light spell-like ability to use 3 times per day. Caster level equals the Kitsune's level. Keen senses, they're agile, +2 racial bonuses on mobility checks. They can change shape. They can assume the appearance of a specific single human form of the same sex. The Kitsune always takes this specific form when she uses this ability. A Kitsune in human form cannot use her bite attack. Changing shape is the standard action. Whoa. So you can actually change shape. That's pretty wild. And Kitsune or Fox folk are Vulpine shapeshifters known for their love of both trickery and art. Kitsune possess 2 forms, that of an attractive human of slender build with salient eyes, and their true form of an anthropomorphic fox. Despite an irrepressible penchant for deception, Kitsune prize loyalty and make true companions. They delight in the arts, particularly riddles and storytelling, and settle in ancestral clans, taking their wisdom from both the living and spirits. So there we go, guys. We got through all the races right on time. Next time we will pick one and head on to possibly heritages. And then further in character creation yet. But I promise, guys, like once we're done with character creation, it's going to be smoother sailing as we enter the game and start playing. You know, it's still going to be a lot of text and stuff, but we're going to be making a lot of good gameplay progress with our character. So that's something to look forward to. I just want to kind of be thorough doing this character creation and kind of leaning towards, let's see, we're a magus. Elves would be perfect, intelligence and dex. Or even halflings, dex and charisma, but the intelligence would go further. Or we can play it differently, like a gnome, and get, well, that would affect our melee with the strength deficit. But we could play through that. There's a lot of different ways we can go, even into these more unique races. Well, they're all unique, but these different races you don't see all the time. Tiefling could be interesting. They don't even get a +2 though. But yeah. But we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. So we will make more progress as we go. It's slow going right now, but if you hang in there, we'll be playing this game before you know it. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy and you'd like to see more of this Let's Try, please go ahead and hit the like button. Give this video a thumbs up, and you can leave a comment if you want as well. And just that lets me know that you want to see more, and more will get made. But I do plan on making more anyway, so stay tuned for that. Hope to see you there. If you're new here, welcome. I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. But those are all just suggestions, guys, not demands, so it's all good, whatever you choose to do. And yeah, so we're going to pick a class next time, guys. I hope to see you there. Come on back. I have no clue again what race we're going to pick. Oh, I said class. What race we're going to pick. We're pretty much definitely going to be a Magus Arcane Rider, but will we be a halfling? Will we be a half-elf? Or even an Oread? Or maybe even a human. Get those bonus feats. Those will add up. But we'll see next time, guys. So do come back. I will see y'all then. Until then, be well, live well, stay well, and much love, peace, and joy to all of you. Catch you next time. Peace out.